Hello, welcome to this video. This video is going to be for the editor anatomy. I'm going to be talking about almost everything that is to know about the editor from A to Z. So if you are a beginner, you are going to find this really useful. If you are on the intermediate level, probably you will find one or two new things that you didn't know, but the majority of the information you are going to be really familiar with. So let's jump right in. So let's go from the left to the right. From the left, we have an exit button in case you want to exit. Then we have desktop and mobile previews. This is basically going to give you the chance to look to see how your funnel is looking in the desktop or mobile view. After that, we have apps. Don't really worry about this one because we are not going to mess with this. This is just ClickFunnels way to say that you have all these apps embedded in the ClickFunnels editor. After that, we have settings. So in these settings, you really are going to use this a lot of times. So pay attention. In the first one, we have integrations. This is great for doing integrations with email, for example. Here you can set up important things so your email service provider knows what he is going to be looking for. After that, we have SEO metadata. So this is really, really important, and a lot of ClickFunnels editors kind of forget about this one, and it's going to make a little difference, a really difference, if you use this and have this in mind. So here you can change the title of your SEO metadata, the description, the keywords, the author, and a social image. What's this? This basically is saying that on the top left corner, you are going to have control about what you are going to show there. For example, if this was Google, you are going to name it a Google, right? But this is not Google. This is the way of the funnel. After that, we have description. Description is basically the text that is going to appear right after the link. If you see here, that's just two examples, and join this course because it is really useful. And after that, we have keywords. Don't mind keywords. I barely used it for SEO. I prefer to use SEO in other terms and not really for funnels. After that, we have the author. That's going to be the name that's going to appear right after the URL, and we have a social image that is going to appear on the top part of the URL. All right, so with this setup, make sure you do this first thing when you set up a new funnel because you don't want to forget about it. All right, so after that, we have tracking codes. Tracking codes is basically an editor that gives you the chance to use tools, third party tools, such as Facebook Pixel. Who doesn't love Facebook Pixel? Who, for example, Hotjar tracking codes that allows you to search and look what the user is doing in your funnel, right? So a lot of tracking codes can be embedded in the header and footer, and also some JavaScript script can be introduced here as well in some cases. After that, we have CSS custom codes. So this is the editor that is going to allow you to turn your website into whatever you feel like it. You can turn it into a fairy tale. You can turn it into a more demoniac, chaotic page. So I'm going to be talking about custom CSS and some tips and tricks later on in the course. After that, we have background. Here is really, really straightforward. You can select an image to be as a background. You can select a plain color or a video to be on the background. For the video, I don't really recommend it because it's kind of heavy and can bug a little bit. But I do recommend to use video on the background to make the page look more stylish, but as a GIF. After that, we have typography. For typography, here you can have a little bit of control about what your typography on the page is going to be look like, what's the standard color, and what's the link color. I don't really use this typography tab because I prefer to go for CSS custom codes. But if you want, you can control it here, experiment a little bit, or go for themes and choose an already existing theme. All right, let's go for general. Here, there are some steps that are really important to know. The first one is going to be save page as template, because if you are going to be a funnel designer that wants to do like a lot of pages for lead gen and other stuff, you don't really going to need like a really custom made page for every single of your clients. You can make some pages as templates, and this is the button for that. If you save the page as a template, you can then later on go to your saved templates and then choose them and start a new project, just switching some images, colors, and text. After that, we have search engines. So you can make it hide or show. I barely touched this once. And then you have affiliate badge. I choose to hide 99.9% of the time. After that, we have digital asset. This is just like, would you like to provide some kind of downloadable content when someone land on your page? And then you have on submit go to. It's basically if you want to redirect someone to a specific page when they fill out the form and press the button, there's the little space when you can set up that instruction. All right, so this is basically the settings. Let's go to the pop-up. For the pop-up here, it's basically to show and edit pop-up settings. You can go for show pop-up settings and then start building your own pop-up information. It can be anything you like. All right, and then you can edit your settings right here, and it can be a variety of things that I'm going to be some tips and tricks later on. This is just A to Z of the anatomy of the editor. After that, we have return and forward. I never use these two, never, because I have run into some situations that the ClickFunnels editors just completely bugged and ruined 100% of the job that I just did. So I've never touched those buttons ever again. After that, we have sections. Here is like the chance you have for adding sections, some actions, content, and your own saved sections. All right. After that, you can manage those sections. This is really important if you want to adjust where the section is placed on the funnel, show or hide your section, duplicate your section, or delete your section. You can also add a section right here, and it will be a preferred one. After that, we have rows. For rows, it's going to be a similar way. It's going to be add row. It's going to be saved rows and your layout. It can be from one column to 6 columns, or left sidebar or right sidebar. You can play around with these settings and see which one looks best for you. After that, we have manage them. So for example, we have a column right here. We can just switch where and place in a different place, show or hide, duplicate, and then delete, and OK. After that, some people don't really know, but you can manage some of the column settings if you press on the name right there. So for example, later on, I'm going to show you some tricks to edit specific columns, and that's really, really useful if you know these little tricks. So if you go to rows and manage, we have this row here and this row there. If you click, there you go. You have the options that you can later on change. After that, we have columns. In columns, basically, it's going to show all the columns you have on your funnel, and you can hide them, which can be useful, or you can edit them. You can edit the top margin, background image, all these settings you can adjust, and you can always access the CSS info right here with the CSS ID selector. After that, we have add elements. So you can add an element, whatever element you have in the ClickFunnels, and then you can manage your elements. Here in this example, I just have headline and paragraph. You can show, adjust, clone, or just delete it. After that, we have preview. So preview button is just to show how your funnel is looking so far. As you can see here, we have the text and the link. And then we have on top corner, we have the way of the funnel. After that, we have save, which is basically to save your progress. You don't need to know any more than that. So this is just A to Z to the editor mode. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about sections and how to edit them and how to get use of them. So thank you. See you in the next video.